Welcome to the Zetectics Torque Tool Setup and Calibration video series. This part will cover testing torque tool functionality prior to calibration. When first connecting a torque tool, it is important to ensure all functions operate correctly. As the setup file may not be scaled for the tool, care should be taken not to overpressure it. By operating only the pressure valve, you can prove that the flow valve isn't leaking by seeing that the tool does not turn. You can also check what the maximum pressure you can apply to the tool is without actually applying it. In this case, we can only achieve around 120 bar, whereas the tool requires approximately 140 bar to achieve full torque. Enter setup pages, controls, and analog control setup to adjust the valve scaling. The valve scale values in the FAT document will allow the full range of operation of the valve. Enter the values, remembering that this will potentially allow over 200 bar depending on the HPU output. Return to the operating page to test the new control range. Operate only the pressure valve again, taking note of where the control provides maximum tool pressure. We can see that almost 200 bar is now achievable. Proceed to test the remaining functions. Ensure the correct function occurs with each valve operation. If they are wrong, it is most likely the hose connections do not match the setup file. This can be corrected by moving the hoses or making setup file changes. The gear function has a physical high gear indicator. It is also possible to enable a sensor indication in the software. The flow valve operation can now be tested along with the turns count feedback. Make a mark on the tool to allow tracking of each turn. Apply a small amount of pressure, then slowly open the flow valve clockwise until the tool starts to turn. The rear indicator should turn at a rate of 1:1 when in low gear. Perform 10 turns and ensure the speed is adjustable by varying the flow valve. The tool is capable of at least 25 RPM in low gear. Ensure the turns count feedback matches the number of turns performed. If this doesn't match, consult the torque tool setup guide to perform a turns calibration. Now place the tool in high gear and perform 10 turns counterclockwise in the same manner. Again, start by applying a small amount of pressure. Then slowly increase the flow, this time in the counterclockwise direction until it begins to turn. Once the tool is turning, observe that the turns value is reducing. The rear turns indicator will turn at a rate of 5:1. Steadily increase the flow to prove proportional control. The tool should be capable of 5 RPM in high gear. Continue running the tool until 10 turns have been completed. Ensure the turns feedback matches the number of turns performed. This will be -10 if starting from 0. The final step prior to calibration should be to test the torque feedback and preload the tool. Prior to fitting the torque analyzer bucket, ensure that the stem fitted is rated for the full range of torque to be applied, and that it has been zeroed. Fit the torque analyzer bucket to the tool, and operate the latches to ensure the bucket is secured. Set a nudge torque value that will provide 10 bar. If in doubt, operate the pressure valve again to find this. Nudge the tool clockwise to take up the slack. Apply pressure in stages, opening and closing the flow valve in between each step. The auto calibration applies 100% flow, so the same should be applied when testing. Only monitor the analyzer torque reading. As a calibration has not been performed, the tool feedback cannot be relied on yet. The maximum torque in low gear is 500 Nm. Stop when this is achieved. If planning on performing a low gear calibration, hold the torque for 30 to 60 seconds to preload the tool. You can then proceed to the calibration step. If planning on a high torque calibration, nudge the tool counterclockwise to remove any load. Put the tool in high gear, ensuring the physical indicator moves out. If the sensor is mapped in the software, the gear indicator will change from on to off. Nudge the tool clockwise again to remove any slack. Apply torque in stages again with the aim of stepping up to achieve 2,711 Nm. Once full torque is achieved, hold this for 30 to 60 seconds to complete the preload of the tool. The tool is now ready to be calibrated. Nudge the tool counterclockwise and remove the analyzer bucket. This concludes the torque tool function tests. You can now proceed to running a calibration using the software.